Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in, coming back and watching. I appreciate it. Hope your day's going really well. And I'm doing a quick workflow in Luminar today. And I'm in Luminar Flex, but it's the same whether you're in Luminar 2018 or Luminar 3 or Luminar Flex. I'm not doing anything that's specific to Flex because it's effectively, these tools exist in previous versions. So let me jump into that. I have a photo here that I took on my recent trip to Wales. And it was a bridge in this little town called Llanwrst or something. I can't pronounce it, but I'll put the name here so you can see it. In fact, it's in a vlog that I did. You can see up there. Anyway, I love the scene. I mean, it was a place I literally dreamed of seeing upon doing some research of different photo spots in Snowdonia National Park in Wales. And so I was like, gotta see this. But as you can see, the weather conditions weren't great, and I'm not a photojournalist, if you haven't figured that out yet. If you're new here, I'm not a photojournalist, which means I don't necessarily take a photo and say, here's exactly what I saw. I take a photo and then I do whatever it is I want to do to it using the different tools at my disposal to create the look that I want to create. And so that's the look that I created, which was I wanted a better light conditions. I wanted richer colors. I wanted to get rid of a lot of distractions. And I mostly just wanted to create kind of a fairy tale fantasy look with beautiful light. And the fairy tale fantasy part was kind of handled by just the scene itself. I mean, that looks like a fairy tale to me. But I wanted to do some edits here in Luminar in order to get it looking the way I wanted it. So one more time, here's the before and here's the after. So let me reset these filters and we'll jump into it. Okay, here we are with raw develop. So this is a raw file that I'm using. There's the before and the after. I can't reset the raw file or turn it on and off. It's either on or off, and I don't want to reset all the filters. As you can see, I made some temperature and tint adjustments. There's the before again and the after. So I definitely went for a little bit more of a blue kind of look, bumped up the contrast, took down highlights, and increased clarity. Pretty basic stuff I pretty much do on every photo with a raw develop or develop filter. And again, for me, it's kind of like a basic adjustment. It is setting the stage for where I want to go with the photo. And that got me to my next filter, which is tone. And so there you go. So let me show you the before again. There's before and there's after tone. As you can see there, the sky I thought was a little bit too bright. So I took that down, reduced smart tone and reduced highlights. So one more time, just kind of went from there to there. And as you can see, I've got an erased image layer and a bunch of clone and stamp work, which if you look at the original, you can kind of see I got rid of a lot of stuff. Oh, actually, I've got those turned off, so you can't tell that. Anyway, it's coming. But when I darken the sky, you can see I got a lot of spots on my lens. Apparently, I'm sloppy and need to get that cleaned. But regardless, Luminar has the ability to take those off. And this is where I got into kind of the fun part. Again, this is not a big, wow, I've never seen this kind of stuff before. This isn't something like a exposure blend like I did in that recent video. It's just some simple stuff, but I went to cross-processing, and I really liked what it did to the colors there. I used the Tokyo, which is the first one, and cross-processing is really a fun filter. I use it on a lot of images. It's great for color shifts, which is something I do quite a bit, especially in my cityscapes, like street scenes and street photographs, and especially when the light's a little bit dimmer, so on the edges of the day. I think it works really well, and Tokyo is one that I've been using a lot. Historically, you've probably seen me use Seattle, which is something I use on a lot of my sunsets, but I've been experimenting with some of these other ones, like Geneva I like quite a bit, and Miami, but I wanted to use Tokyo here. And let me show you one more time, before and after, just a little bit more color, a little bit more blue, and a little bit of color in the sky, but not really enough. And that's where I went into my next filter, which is one of my all-time favorites. You've probably heard me talk about it quite a bit, and that is color balance. So let me just turn that on. And, kind of boom, you can see what that did, which is primarily around the brighter parts of the photo. One more time, before color balance and after. I wanted to give it a little bit more, beautiful light. It was actually shot probably close to, it was before lunch. How about that? So it was like maybe 11 in the morning, so it wasn't sunset at all. It wasn't sunrise. And, you know, again, I'm not a photojournalist, so I'm not saying this is an accurate representation of what I saw, but this is an artistic version of what I saw and what I wanted to create, right? So what did I do? In shadows, I basically took it a tiny bit blue away from yellow. The midtones, I went a little bit to the red and a little bit to the yellow. And then really the big thing was, of course, in the highlights where I went more away from the cyan to the red and away from the blue to the yellow. So again, not a tutorial on color balance, but basically if you haven't used it, like, wow, what a great filter. It's I would say one of the greatest filters ever made for any product. I wish other products had a color balance. You can do this kind of stuff in curves, but it requires a bit more work. It's a little bit less intuitive in curves, I think, and a little bit harder to figure out. To me, this is kind of easy. Shadows, midtones, highlights, and what color do you want? And you start sliding it. Anyway, one of my favorite filters, certainly in my top few in Luminar. But it made a huge impact on the photo, and I'm liking it. And at this point, I'm kind of on the downhill slide. You know, I'm like Fred Flintstone, like sliding down the back of the dinosaur, like, woohoo, I'm out of here kind of thing. I did my structure typical move, which I'll just show you with the brush. There's the mask. I just painted over the sky and the water with negative structure. And so all that does is soften it up, smooth it out. And so one more time, before, and by the way, this was already a long exposure. I don't know offhand, I think it was about 30 seconds. I had my 10-stop filter on, fairly tight aperture. And you can see like this sign over here is moving. I think this car door opened and closed, but we're going to take care of those here in a minute. So next up was an erased image layer, which was my first step, and it just got rid of those spots that you could see in the sky. And that was when I kind of got into the clone and stamp. And again, this is not a tutorial on clone and stamp either. I have a video there, hey, lucky you, on clone and stamp. So you can check that out on how it works. It works really well. It's not perfect. Hence, I have 3 different layers of clone and stamp. Every time you use the tool, which is just right here, and you click on clone and stamp, it'll open a new layer for clone and stamp, just the same as the eraser does, which is why I have a separate layer for erased image. But in this clone and stamp layer, I went in and I started taking out big obvious things. You can see that car disappeared and some of this stuff over here. Let me show you one more time the before. Also some stuff in the bottom of the river and this road construction sign that was on that bridge. Believe it or not, that is a 1-car bridge and you can drive over it. No, I didn't. I was already driving a stick shift on the right-hand side of the car, which is opposite for America, on the left-hand side of the road, which is opposite for America. I can drive a stick, but I was doing it with my left hand instead of right. I was not about to do a 1-lane road when there were cars about. I just wanted to stay on bigger roads. Anyway, it's drivable, hence the sign. I took that out, and then I was like, you know what? I like the photo. I think I'm done. But as I often do, I come back and do more things to it. And so in this case, I went in with clone and stamp, and I did some repairs over here. I didn't really like the way I'd done it the first time. I took out some other things over here, including some more signage and that sort of thing. So if you look here, there's an open sign, there's a sign there, there's like a handrail coming down, and then there's this sign and some of the stonework over here. I either did a sloppy job the first time, which is very possible because admittedly I was in a hurry to get this done because I put it in that vlog that I linked to earlier. So this is a more recent update to that photo. But then I cleaned that up and I was like, that's a bit more like the way I envision it in my mind. If I'm going to have a fairy tale look, there's not going to be a sign that says, welcome to our store. And there's not going to be a sign out front. And there's not even going to be a handrail. If I'm in Fantasyland here, if I'm in the Fae realm, if you will, I'm just guessing they don't have signs. I haven't been. Maybe you have. Let me know. But I took that stuff out because it just fit the theme of what I was doing. And then I was done, I thought. And of course, I wasn't done because I iterate and I do more stuff. And in this case, I found something over here that was kind of sloppy that I took out the first time, which if you look up there at the edge of those trees right there, I think I took something out. Oh, it was a person walking. And actually, I didn't take him out, but it didn't look good. So I redid that with some clone and stamp. And if you look at that, I mean, that looks pretty good. If I can click that button, there's the before and there's the after. And then also there's a little white thing on the side of this chimney here. One more time before, that's the whole thing. Let me do this, just this layer. There's a little bit of sign here, that person that blurred out, and that right there. So one more time, I took all those out, and that's my finished photo. So it was basically set the stage with raw develop and tone, use structure to smooth out the water even further, even though it was fairly smooth, and the sky, of course, as well, just to get that long exposure look, which I'm a big fan of. And then it was a series of eraser and clone and stamp, just to basically remove distractions from the photo and get it looking the way it looked in my mind, which was more like this. Now, I would rather have shown up at sunset and caught a stunning sunset over this river and blah, blah, blah. And by the way, I would have loved for it to have been fall and all this to be orange, but it wasn't. But you know what? We can try something. Let's just do that real quick while we're talking. We're just hanging out, you and me. We're friends, and I'm going to click on HSL. I don't know how well this is going to work, but this works sometimes, and that is if you get the HSL filter and you go into hue and you get the green hue and you kind of go to the left, look at that. All that green is kind of becoming yellow. And this yellow, I'm going to take it that way as well, and the orange, I'm going to go that way as well. And look at that. I'm starting to get some nice colors. I'm going to take the saturation of the orange and the yellow and the green up, and I'm getting some different colors over there. It's popping on the grass. It's creating a little bit of a messy look there. Oh, no. I don't want that. I want to click on the brush mask, and I'm going to say erase, and I'm going to erase that color shift from the bridge because the bridge is fine. I don't want that stonework getting all orange and pink. And in fact, I don't really want it in my sky either. I was fine with the sky I had. So anyway, sloppy job. I just made this up on the fly. Well, I didn't make it up, but I had this idea on the fly. But let me show you what I did. That's an idea. If you're ever trying to convert a summer picture to look more like a fall picture, there it is in summer, right? This was in August. This was just a few weeks ago in Wales. And there it is kind of in fall. Now, it's not perfect, and it's not a flawless implementation. I suspect I could get other filters and really futz around and try to get something, but that's actually kind of cool. Regardless, I had that. I was very happy with it, and that was really my photo and my edit for today. I told you it was going to be a short video, and I just start talking about this stuff, and I like it so much that I just keep talking, and then I have ideas like, hey, let's make it fall. And in fact, I might go back and get the erase and erase it from those trees as well. And just leave it maybe in the foreground stuff. It looks a little bit better to me. Anyway, I could be here all day. You have better things to do, but I do appreciate you watching, my friends. Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm having fun. I'm going to go fart around with this thing more because I just get so excited. I love editing photos. Can you tell? Can you tell that at all? I didn't think so. Okay, there's my before. Cool scene, long exposure. I like the shot. I think I shot it about as well as I could given the conditions. And believe me, I waited for people to move and cars to move, and I finally said, screw it. And there's my final, or if you turn off this adjustment layer, there's my final. I kind of like this one. They're fun. They're both fun. I have two versions now. Anyway, I'm going to quit yapping. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope your day is going super awesome. If you like this, please. Tell YouTube that you're like, hey, Jim's doing some pretty cool stuff. That helps me a lot. I really appreciate that. I'm getting like this close to 15,000 subscribers, and that just makes me happy. It doesn't really mean a whole lot, like in the scheme of things, but it's a nice round number, and I'm happy to celebrate that. And it's really because people like you show up and watch. So thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Take care. Adios.